Hi everyone, welcome to a new devlog. This week I work mostly on the character and environment design. And on the other hand, I changed the player block based on the angle to the enemy. So let's get started. The plans I had for this week were changed to a new 3D character I had to create, consuming almost all my time I had planned for game dev. The new character was in anime style, which was a challenge, as I had never created characters in this style before. Creating 3D anime style is much more complex than I had thought, since no maps are used, only the ambient occlusion, all the texturing is done with flat colors and outlines. If you're interested in knowing how to make 3D anime characters, I can make another video going into detail. Leave me a comment below if you're interested. Here I show the finished character. It's a character by Hicham Habchi, character artist at Riot Games. It's his interpretation of Ramon Núñez's original character. Both super good artists with very original projects. I will leave their links in the description if you want to check them out. If you want to see my character in more detail, I'll leave the link to the project in ArtStation. Back to my game, Howling Tales. This week I was able to polish more details of the AI for the enemy. I refactored some details such as the settings. You can see now we have more exposed variables. And I added the damage and the max health and the enemy level. This is done in this way because my enemies have components. So this one has a component for guns and has a component for hitbox. This is for when it's fighting hand to hand. This way I can create a lot of different enemies just by adding these different components. So the component is the one who manages all the taking damage and all of that stuff. And the way I communicate between the component and the blueprint, it's by this interface that I call weapon helper. And then I have, right now I only have two functions, but I have the get damage from the character, from the enemy, and the max health. So in the component here, when we are already like taking damage, as you can see, the base damage comes from the blueprint, from the interface, and this it's on the blueprint of the enemy here. It's very simple. It's I think a very easy way for me to create different enemies. And because all these variables are exposed, I can iterate very easily, change values and test how they work. I adjust the player's block, so if the player is not facing the enemy, the block is not effective and the enemy can hurt us. Here, you can see how the block works perfectly when we are in front of the enemy, but hurts us if we turn our back. By adding this kind of small detail, we can make the combat more complex and interesting. Finally, back to the design, I started working on environments. Here, you can see the blocking in Blender of a new environment I'm making. I'm looking at the complexities of creating buildings and how I can optimize them to make them more modular, both in geometry and materials. I want to make efficient use of both. This week I'll finish the texture, so next week I'll be able to show you and see what you think. And that was all this week. On the other hand, I want to remind you that I'm open for commissions on Fiverr for 3D work to help fund my game. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to see my services and rates. Every week I post a devlog showing the progress made in both 3D and game dev. If you like this content, subscribe and like the video, and if you don't like it, please leave in the comments what things you would like to see. Maybe more game dev stuff, tutorials, or more 3D. Please let me know. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.